In this video, we're going to start learning about the masking tools and how we can isolate different sections of these images to start creating the mountain that we're going to build. So to do that, I make sure I got my image selected. I'll go to my node bin where I access my tools that are inside of Action. Just like the effects node bin, the same hotkey works in the Action bin. If I hit the G key, only the tools that start with G will be highlighted and displayed. I will double click on the Gmask tool. Automatically, a Gmask was added to the scene and it was attached to the selected image. Again, you can see the connection lines and the relationship of the different nodes inside of the Action schematic. Not only did it give me the mask node, it also gave me an axis node that can be used to manipulate the position and transformation of the Gmask. Also, just like the Gmask tracer we looked at before, because I just added a mask, notice my tool has switched to the Draw Shape tool. So now I can come into this viewport and just click and drag to create a mask to isolate the part of this image that I want to use. I'll close the mask by clicking on the first control point, and you'll notice that my tool switched back to the Select tool. So draw a mask that's similar to what you see in the scene here. Also, we've got this big black hole being punched through because this is the default for the mask. It's going to remove the elements that are inside of it because technically it's a garbage mask. So I want to invert this. So I can go to the Object tab, or I can just double click on the Gmask and the editing panel will automatically switch to the Object tab with the Gmask parameters. There are several different controls you have over your Gmask, such as the transparency, intensity, smoothing, blurring, and so on, but I'm just going to click Invert to invert the mask. Now, even though my mask is attached to that image, it's affecting the other layers. I need to tell this mask to only affect this one image. So to do that, I'm going to go back to my tools. I'm going to come up to where I see Gmask Link. You could use the hotkey of Option G to access this tool, but I choose Gmask Link, and when I click off of the mask, you'll see a blue connection line now. And when I drop it on this image, you'll now see in the viewport, the Gmask is only going to be affecting that individual image. Now I am still in the Gmask Link tool, so I'm going to hit the M key to go back to my Select tool. But now as I move or change the position of the Gmask, you see the blue connection line telling me that this Gmask is affecting just that image. Now just for reference, I'm going to hold the Option key and hit the G key once again to access my Gmask Link tool. Let's say I wanted this Gmask to affect multiple images, but there's only one or maybe two that I didn't want it to affect. Instead of me clicking and dragging off it now, and I see the bright blue line, I'm going to discard that by releasing my cursor. If I hold the Alt or the Option key and I click off, you see a lighter blue or teal line. What I could do in this case, if I drop this on an image, then that image would not be affected by the mask, and all other images that I did not connect this light blue line to would be affected by the mask. All right, I'm just going to discard all that. I just wanted to show it to you, and I'm going to hit the M key once again to get back to my Select tool. All right, now I want to start positioning this layer where I want it in our scene. So make sure you have your axis, the top axis that's affecting your image, selected. First off, I want to scale it up. You'll notice that the pivot center point is still at its original position for the image, and that's fine. We can work with that. I'll hit the E key to get my scale tool, and then I'm just going to click right there in the very center. This is going to scale it proportionally, and I'll drag this till I see my parameter down below reach about 177, somewhere around there. Then I'll hit the T key to get my translate tool, and I'll take the X manipulator and drag it more to the center of the scene. Again, if I want to be very specific, I can come down to the parameters, click in the field, and enter -920. I'll set my Y to a -1200. And then for the Z or the Z, I'll take my manipulator in my top view. I just want to bring this back like 110, -110. So I'll enter that in my value, -110. I'm looking at my mask and I want to manipulate it a little bit. So I'll hit the M key to go back to my Select tool. I'll click on the actual shape of the mask, and then I can come in here and just adjust the shape to display the part of the rock that I want to show. All right, I want to add another layer with using the same image. So I'm going to go to my Media tab, and here you see the front and the mat, a thumbnail of each of them, of the image that is currently selected in the media list. Not what is selected in your schematic. It's what is selected in the media list down here in the editing panel. Here's where, if you wanted to, you can turn the front off of a layer, you can turn the front on of a layer, you can set it to use the mat that has been fed in, turn the mat off, or invert the mat. You can also turn your background on and off, but remember, we don't have an image fed in as a background. But in this thumbnail area here, if I double click, I just added a new layer of that same image. Let me click this viewport here and click Fit to fit it in the view. I'll come back and select this image, the new image we just brought in. Go back to our node bin, double click on my Gmask once again. Immediately I'm going to hold Option and hit the G key to get my Gmask Link tool. I'll click off of that mask and drop it on that image so we know for sure that it's only going to be affecting that image. I'll hit the M key to get my Select tool. So now we know it's only affecting this image. And I can move my nodes around and organize them as I want. Now before I create my mask, I want to create a duplicate of all of these. So I can region select all of them, right click on it and choose duplicate, and now I have a third version. For right now, I'm going to region select these. I'll just hit the H key to hide all of these so we can focus on the mask that we're going to create for this image. I'll double click on this Gmask for this second version of it just to make sure it's selected. I'll hit the N key, which is the hotkey for your Draw Shape tool. In this viewport, I'm just going to click and create a mask again about something like this. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be exact. I'll click the invert button for that mask. Then I'll select the axis for this image, and inside my top view I can grab its translate tool and just start moving it back in Z space. I want this to be about -270, so I'll actually just go and enter exactly -270 for its Z position. Now I'll scale this up. I'm going to take this to about 215. I'm just going to do it in my fields down here, so 215 for any one of them since proportional is on. And I want to move this over using my X manipulator somewhere around an actual -2000 maybe. I can zoom back a little bit, control spacebar, grab the manipulator and start dragging it down. Maybe about 900, somewhere around there. So it's peeking out a little bit above the other rock that's in front of it. And now I want to rotate it on my Z, maybe like a -15, 16. So we're just got that corner happening here. So let's see, let's go in here. I'll enter an exact -15. Now that we've rotated it, I want to bring my Y up a little bit. Let's try a -790. In fact, let's just enter it in the calculator to be very precise. And if we want to, we can fine tune a little bit. Maybe just move the X over a little bit to like -2065. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. Let's go work on the last part of our mountain that we're creating. So I'm going to region select, holding control, all of the nodes here, hit the H key so we bring it back. Double click on the Gmask tool to access its parameters. Hit the N key to switch to our Draw Shape tool. I'll draw a mask just around the very top part of the mountain or these rocks that we have here, and then click Invert once again. Now to position it where I want it to be, I'm going to make sure I double click on the axis for the image, not the axis for the mask. Let's double this thing in size. So I'm going to enter, actually let's do 205 for the scale. It's off on the side here, that's okay. We're going to be bringing it back in. I'll use my manipulator to bring the X over. Set it to be somewhere around -1450. I'll take my Y and drag it down. -890. And for our Z, I'll go to my top view and I'll drag this back. This is actually going to be the furthest piece of the rock away. I'm going to set it to be a -415. And then I can select my mask once again and I can start to alter the shape of the mask as needed to make sure I am displaying the part of the rock that I actually want to be showing. As you can see in the viewport, by default, we're displaying all the icons. If you don't want to display the icons, you'll notice currently under our top view, you'll see the option that reads Icons On. Clicking on that is going to give you the different options for displaying your icons. Or you can use the hotkey. If you hit the I key once, you're now going to display only the object that is selected is going to be displayed. So if I select this mask here, you can see that icon shows. If I select the axis though, you'll see the manipulator appears. If I select the image node, you'll see that the manipulator is there, plus the outline of the actual image. Let me select the most recent mask I created, and in this viewport here, I hit the I key again. Now, icons are off totally. If I hit the I key again, all icons are on. I hit it again. We're going to go selected. I hit the I key one more time. It turns the icons off. So you can use the I key as a toggle to go between the three different options. All right, now that I've got all my layers positioned where I want them to be, I can go down to a two-view layout. Option 2 is the hotkey to go back to the two-view layout. And this viewport over here, I will select it. And instead of looking at our top view, I'm going to switch it from my viewer to be the default output. Or I could have hit F4. All right, so this is where we're going to end this video. In the next video, we're going to start looking at how we're going to use tools such as the Matchbox tools and camera effects to perform color correction, creating depth of field, and different effects.